Today you're going to construct a line graph to show the effect of the different factors on enzyme activity that you saw in the lab from Friday on Paperase. Okay, in order to draw a graph, go ahead and draw two axes. So you have your y-axis and your x-axis here, and then your graph portion in the middle. So go ahead and draw that on your paper, and go ahead and pause if you need to while you do that. Okay, after you've done that, go ahead and include your titles. You should have a graph title. Your graph title should be telling me what your entire graph is showing. So it should be a detailed title telling me what the entire graph is showing me. So don't be vague, be specific. What is it telling me? On your x-axis, you always put your independent variable. So that's what you controlled, and what you guys were controlling on Friday was the amount of time. So you were controlling, okay, at 10 seconds we're going to stop and we're going to count. So you were controlling the time. So that's your independent variable. So you're going to put that on your x-axis. So go ahead and write this down on your x-axis. On your y-axis, I'll go ahead and see if you can figure this one out. But your title is going to be named after the dependent variable. So whatever you guys measured on Friday, that's what your title is going to be. So go ahead and put your dependent variable right here. What did you measure? Write that down. Okay, once you have your titles, then you need to scale your graph. So the most amount of time that you guys used on your stopwatch last week was 40 seconds. So you're going to go ahead and put your numbers up till 40 because that's the most amount of seconds that you typed. Then on your y-axis, go ahead and number that as well up to the maximum number that you counted. Okay, once you've labeled your axis and you have your titles, now you need to create a key. You're going to have 3 lines on this graph, and you remember from your lab you guys did one section on how normal enzymes function. So you broke the paper in 10-second intervals and you counted just using your normal hand. So you should have a line for that. Then you guys denatured your hand, and if you remember, denatured means you changed the shape of the enzyme. So we represented that by putting a sock over your hand, and then you recorded how many papers you broke in that time span of 40 seconds. So you should have a separate line showing the data for denatured enzymes. Then what you guys did is you showed how the increased number of enzymes can affect the speed of a reaction. So instead of one of you breaking paper, you had 2 of you breaking paper. And so you should have data representing that. So you should have a line representing the increased number of enzymes, and you should have a different color for each line. You don't have to use these particular colors, but you do need to have 3 separate colors representing those effects on enzyme activity. So go ahead and do that right now. Create a key and decide what colors you're going to use to represent each one. And go ahead and pause me if you need to while you do that. Okay, once you've gotten your key, your titles, and you've set up your graph, now you need to plot your points. So first, look at your first data table. So you have 3 data tables. Look at the first one for normal enzyme activity, and then go ahead and plot those points. Okay, so you're going to plot each point, and you're going to draw a line connecting them. Your line might not look the same as mine. That's okay, but plot based on your data. Okay, don't plot it on mine. Plot it on your data. Then you have a second data table on your paper, and that shows the data for denatured enzymes. So you're going to go ahead and plot those points, and again, you'll connect the dots once you're done and draw a line through them. And then you have your third data table showing the information for the increased enzyme concentration. Go ahead and plot those points for your third line and connect the dots, and your graph should be complete. Once you've constructed your graph, answer the analysis questions that you picked up at the beginning of the class period. There are 5 questions. Make sure that you write every single answer in complete sentences. So it should be a complete thought. Never start off with because. Make sure that your spelling is correct. Don't abbreviate because for cause or YOU for you. Make sure that you spell everything out. Make sure you read and answer all parts of the question. If you look at numbers 1, 2, and 3, it tells you to explain your answer, so make sure you do both parts. Be very detailed in your answers. So include very good explanations. Show me that you're making connections to what we've learned in class with this lab. And if you need to, and let's say you forgot some of the things, that's okay. Use your notebooks. We took notes on enzymes, or you can watch my enzyme PowerPoint on my website, which will give you more information on enzymes to help you refresh your memory, and so that you can answer these thoroughly with detailed responses. So again, make sure you answer all 5 questions, and make sure that every single person does their own questions. You each will be turning in your analysis questions. So don't do one for the entire group, do one for every single person. Okay, after you've watched this, and if you still have questions, please raise your hand and let me know.